We are live. That's right. We are live. This is football 101. After the game, the Kansas City Chiefs, Texans, after the game, Thursday night, we are back. We are back. Like I said, right after the game, we are back. This is our after the game show. That's right, we are back. I told you I'm going to do a quick synopsis of the game. That's right, this is the Beetle. It's, what time is it? It's 11:26 right now. The game just ended. And the score was the Chiefs 34. That's right, Chiefs 34, Texans 20. Was it Texans 20? That's right, Chiefs 34, Texas 20. And guess what I predicted? Check the show before, the pregame before. I had predicted the Chiefs, 30 and the Texas 22. And it was just as I anticipated. Want to make this official? Wow. Well, there you go. What the synopsis? Let me just break it down. The first half, the Texans actually scored first, and let me give you some bright spots for the Texans, if there's any bright spots. Basically, they started off the game sound, running attack with Johnson. He was a serious threat all throughout. He did an exceptional job, and that he was a great pickup for the Texans. And let me just make sure he did an outstanding job while he was in there. So the game started off with the Texans had a great game plan. They actually had a decent game plan going into this game. I figured they were going to try to slow things down and control the clock, and that's what they did on their in the first quarter, and they were actually winning the game after the first drive of the Chiefs did not end in a score, and so the Texans actually started off with a very good game plan. But what got the Texans was the control attack of the Chiefs as Patrick Mahomes and the offense got settled down after the first drive or second drive, and after they got settled down, they controlled the clock and controlled the game, and they actually did an incredible job of controlling the game in the first half. As a matter of fact, they were just dinking and dunking, and the new running back, my gosh, for the Chiefs, he actually was a phenomenal. He's going to be a superstar, obviously. There's no doubt about it. He carried the load for the Chiefs, and you can just tell that he was ready to go. They had all confidence in the world of him, and he was just like a seasoned veteran, no doubt about it. I think he's going to be one of those guys that just going to carry the load. Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU. Yes, I'm picking up. I'm getting the tip from Darren B earlier. And they just took control the first half and wore down the Texans defense, particularly on that one drive. It was a 97-yard drive, 97 or 96-yard drive. And when they scored it and made it, 14-7 or something like that, when they went out ahead of the another touchdown, that was a crushing touchdown because again they had kept that Houston Texans defense on the field for a long time. And you got to give it up that the Chiefs did not waver. They did not panic after the Texans scored their first touchdown. Does Patrick Mahomes ever panic? No, they don't panic. But they had to settle down. They had to get back. And here was the matchup that I knew that was going to happen, and I'm just going to call it out. I'm going to call it out because when the Chiefs and Kelsey scored a touchdown, of course Kelsey's going to get him. They just went back to their bread and butter. But what was the kicker for was the matchups? The Texans defensive backs, and I give credit for the Texas defensive coordinator. He called a great game initially. I mean, he had a mixed bag of blitzes, but also coverages, and he did a good job there. And yet the matchups that he had with the wideouts were constantly getting beat. The matchups when they brought in their fifth defensive back, and I noticed this. Initially, they had the fifth defensive back, Vernon Hargreaves. What was the number? 29. And he was matched up with Sammy Watkins every time. Play the tape back. Every time Sammy Watkins was out and he was the weak side corner, and he was Vernon Hargreaves would match up with Sammy Watkins. They exploited that matchup again and again and again. Play the tape. He could not stop Sammy Watkins. Could not stop anybody, and that's how they did the great matchup. And they knew the Texans DBs were not going to match up well in the end, and they didn't. They didn't. I give credit for the Texans defensive line coming up, and let me just say, J.J. Watt played an excellent game. I didn't know if he was going to last in there, but he was busting up plays in the front. He got called for offensive, offsides one time. He was playing over the center. He was playing on the edge, but he was disrupting the front line on a lot of run plays and making plays himself. But he was a disruptor, and he still looked good by the end of the game. They were very physical, very violent. So that defensive line held its own. Even Chris Collinsworth, commentating during the game, he acknowledged that the Texas defensive line, they did a pretty decent job. Let me just say that. Did a pretty decent job. Including J. Watt. Yet it was the DBs. I'm going to say it. The DBs on Texas team, particularly Hargreaves, got burnt. It was the matchups. And yes, Matt C., you think they did well on Clyde? Oh, I think they handled Clyde well. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the message and the question. Matt C., I think they did the best that they could do. I mean, Clyde Edwards. I mean, he's just a beast. I mean, he was just getting rolling, and that young gentleman, he's going to be a superstar. They contained him. I think he had over 130 yards, but he was getting ready to bust out. You could just tell he was going to bust out. But they did a good job to contain him. I mean, they stopped him on short yardage, but he was going to get his yardage if they just could constantly roll. But yes. Messi, I think Texans did as best as they could. They did as best as they could, and I thought they contained him. But he's going to get, he's going to be a 200-yard back because he doesn't go down easy. He can take hits. As a matter of fact, on that last drive, he was still running over players, and he was getting down low. So a lot of the veterans got to get ready. This rookie, he's the real deal, and he can go in the hole and jump out, but he stays in between. He usually stays in between the tackles, and he can make a lot of yardage and cause a lot of damage. He can cause a lot of damage. So I see him as to me, he's no doubt a superstar. He will be all pro. I mean, because, again, when you have him in the backfield and they just can't overrun him, hopefully they won't overuse him. I think they have enough backs there to spell him. But just this first game, I see that, he is going to be a superstar. It's just that the Texans really came in and stopped him on several key plays. And their defense, just their run defense, the Texans' run defense really did a great job. I give them that much because it could have looked really bad. It could have really looked bad. But it's that run defense with the front linemen and the linebackers were feeling eventually. It's just that secondary. They didn't know how to cover at all. The matchups, they didn't know how to cover Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill in that easy touchdown when he just went straight across the field, and the DB couldn't even keep up with him. He's just that fast. And that's the way they use Tyreek. I mean, they can spread him out. They can spread him out, and you got to have the right DB matchup to stay with him across the field. And again, they really didn't throw to Tyreek Hill that much, and they really didn't need to. But they just got so many weapons. It took the Chiefs a little while to get into their groove, but you saw that they got into their groove on that long drive, and then they picked it up. They scored those points right before halftime, and that was key, too. When you score points right before halftime, and then you get the ball right after halftime, that was the end of the game right then and there. And you can just I'm just going to be real. Deshaun Watson, I like the brother, but seemed like he was demoralized after they got down a touchdown and a half. You just look at him on the sideline, he was demoralized. I mean, he was into the game initially, and I admit that his passing was better, and he wasn't as and I would have to say this, too. His wide receivers didn't help him at all. Fuller missed the first catch that he threw. That was a good pass. Fuller messed up, and then he eventually stepped up. And then Stills dropped an easy pass. And his wife, and then they didn't even throw to the veteran wide receiver too at the very, very end. And what was that about? So the play calling on offense was not good for the Texans. And the Texans were still in this game at the very, very end. And that's the reason why I couldn't understand why Watson gave up so easily after the second half. Right after they got down 14 points or whatever, he got down. There was no urgency. That's what I'm saying. There was no urgency on the Texans offense. And you got to give it up to the Texans defense to keep it in the game. And again, this is the first game for and you can see this one. Let me just say this: it was a well-played game. There was practically very few penalties, and that's what Al Michaels was mentioning and Chris Collinsworth. They said, "Wow, look at they really played a pretty good game." Apparently he has a great receiver too. Yes, and so there's a lot of great opportunity there for both sides, and I just see that. KC will step up to another level as they create better matchups. And you can just tell that they knew they were going to always get the matchup with Kelsey, but can they create these other matchups with their new players? And they're going to have to bring in some, and they do have the weapons for these other matchups to continue to roll. And even Patrick Mahomes, he missed on one. There was one pass that went really over Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill, I think he stopped on his route and was almost an interception. So that was a thing. And then when the Kansas City came down on this one drive, and there was an interception in the end zone, but the defensive back for the Texans held, and actually the linebacker for the Texans got the interception, so they would not have scored any points if it wasn't the dumb mistake by the defensive back. So it's just that that's the which I scouted out. I figured that the Texans defensive backs is not going to hold up in throughout the season. They got to get some other matchups. And let me just say, when I'm just going to call it, when Vernon Hargreaves was matched up with Sammy Watkins and another wide receiver, but particularly with Sammy Watkins, he was playing off of Sammy Watkins. Now, Sammy Watkins is not that fast anymore, but Vernon was playing off of him. He did not wrap up at all when it came to, and it was an easy touchdown, easy catches all the way. So again, I give props to KC. It's just that the Texans defense, and I was just wanting to see more out of the Texans, not the same old stuff. And unfortunately, when they get down, it was the same old offense, the same, but the defense kept them in the game. And so again, the offense needs to dramatically improve for the Texans. As for the KC Chiefs, they are unstoppable. Let me just say they're just unstoppable because they needed they always seem like they need to be under the pressure. They just can't blow out teams, and that's one thing I'm going to be pay attention to. Can they blow out teams anymore? I just don't think I don't think they're going to blow out teams as much as they used to, because their game is going to rely upon more in the running, so it's going to reduce the scoring. But I just think that the Chiefs are that type of team that can respond under certain pressure, and they get riled up, and then they make plays. But again, you got to be defensively wise. You have to be on it, and against the Chiefs, you got to be on it all the time. You can't take it easy, and your offense have to be on it. You just have to constantly attack your own offense. You just can't take it easy. So I have to give it up to the Texans for making it somewhat of a game, because this could have easily got blown out. This was going to be a game that just simply was not going to be entertaining, and it wasn't entertaining. This was going to be a game that just simply was not going to be entertaining, and it wasn't entertaining for a while there. It was getting long. It was actually getting fairly long, and let me just pull up one other piece of information. Yeah, here we go. What was so interesting is that the Bill O'Brien, he still doesn't seem like he gets it. The head coach for the Texans, he just seems like he still doesn't get it. I don't know what the reason was. I just still are perplexed, because the Texans do have a good team. I give them credit. They have a really solid team, and it's just that you don't see any major change at this point in time. And I'm looking for that major change. And yes, David Johnson, he did an incredible job. Got to give him. And matter of fact, when he scored that first touchdown for the Houston Texans, you can see he still has the speed. He has the inside speed. He has the outside. He made a juke, and he scored that touchdown. So, and then he ran hard in between the tackles. So I have to give it up to David Johnson on the running attack. He looked good. And let me just say, Patrick Mahomes, is still the superstar. He's still the superstar, and he still will make plays. Yes, Patrick Mahomes he's into it. He still will make plays. So there you go. That's really my wrap up. I just want to get your quick opinion because again it was a good solid start of the game. I was let me just say this from a football standpoint. I was disappointed in the Texans how they just simply gave up in the end of the first quarter in the second half, and then they finally thought, okay, in the fourth quarter they can possibly make this a game. So I would have to say I'm going to put the blame on Deshaun Watson. Okay, Deshaun. I'm just going to say Deshaun needs to step up. That's it. Deshaun Watson needs to step up. Period. So there you go. This is Football 101. I wanted to keep this brief. I'm 21 minutes in. If you want to make any final comments, send me a response. This is what I do. I'm going to feature, and I'm also going to feature. Have a pregame show. I will have a pregame live stream show of the Dallas Cowboys and LA Rams. Yeah, LA Rams. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, I will have a pregame live show of the Dallas Cowboys and LA Rams, and we will also. Yes, I'm into it. I will also have a post-game live stream show. So join me on Sunday, y'all. Sunday, I'm told this is the entire weekend of NFL football. I'm going to be there on Sunday, pregame Sunday for the Dallas Cowboys game and the LA Rams, and then a post show of the Cowboys and Rams, and just really wrap everything up for Sunday. And then we're gonna have there's the Monday night game. I don't even know who's playing Monday, but I think I'm just ready for a Sunday night. Sunday. So hopefully you enjoyed this post game. Thank you, everyone. This is the Beetle. We just keeping it real, and I'm going to call people out. I'm going to call players out now. Now I'm not going to be nice when I see it, and I see it again and again. No, I'm not going to be nice to this vet. No, I'm going to call you out right now. So that's what I did. I called certain players out. They got to step up. They're getting paid. It's time to step up. Peace out, everybody. See ya. See ya. Thank you.